Welcome to week two of FST 280, company officer. And hopefully you are starting to get your feet wet a little bit when it comes to some of the things in this class. I know that it took a little time for you to get maybe used to the platform that we're using, possibly getting used to the Jones and Bartlett. If you've never used the Jones and Bartlett platform, I know that can be a little confusing. And also, if you've never used the Delta College platform, that can also be confusing because most of you, before you started this class, didn't attend Delta College. So you didn't have Delta College email addresses or student numbers. So that's all new to you. The important thing that you need to remember is that you need to check into both websites on a weekly basis. Your coursework will all be on the Jones and Bartlett site. So the things that you have to do every week will be going through the video lectures. You have to go through those, complete the quizzes that are associated with them, because those will be part of your grade. You also need to check and make sure that you're paying attention to any discussion questions that you may have. So for instance, this week you have a discussion question that is based on an actual oral board question that many people get asked, or firefighters get asked, when they are looking for promotion. This week, this second week here, is about preparing to get promoted. Now, the thing is this: if you are waiting until there is an opening in your fire department, if you are waiting until there is a promotional opportunity for you to start preparing, it is too late, right? You need to start preparing for that promotion the minute you've decided that you wanted to be an officer in the fire department. You cannot wait until an opportunity arises, because if you wait until an opportunity arises, chances are you are way behind the ballgame. Somebody else is already better prepared. Somebody else has been out there taking classes. Somebody else has been out there studying for that promotional test, and now you're going to find that you're way behind the eight ball. You can't wait to start preparing for promotion until there's a job announcement, because by that time, other people may already have their officer classes finished. They may already have an instructor credential. Some of them may even have advanced degrees in fire science and firefighting. And it's very hard to compete against somebody else's resume. You may be a great a firefighter. You may be somebody that people trust, people want you to have the job. But when it comes to an oral board, when it comes down to a chief's decision, right, you are looking at the paper, you are comparing your accomplishments and your qualifications to someone else's qualifications. That has nothing to do with personality. That has everything to do with, have you prepared yourself for the position that you want? Several years ago, when I decided I wanted to be a lieutenant here in our fire department, I went to my lieutenant. We're a three-man house. I went to him and said, I want you to teach me how to do your job. And he kind of looked at me funny. I said, I'm a year or two away from testing for this position. I want you to teach me how to do your job. I don't want there to be that big of a lag or a learning curve if I get that position. The first time that I studied for a lieutenant's test, believe it or not, I failed the test. I didn't put in as much effort as what I thought I did. Much effort is what required to pass that test. That test was 1,400 pages of material, 3 textbooks that were this large, and out of that was a 100-question multiple choice test. Now, I thought that I'd studied hard. I went through college, I had degrees, I had a way of studying that I thought was going to work for me. And the problem was I did not spend enough time studying and memorizing a lot of the material that was there. The first time I took a promotional test, I got 63%. It takes a 70% to pass to get to the oral board in our department. Now, I was crushed. I expected that I was going to get promoted off of that list. It didn't work out that way. I tried, I just didn't understand how difficult that process is. The next time came around a year later. I never stopped studying. I continued to study and study and study and study nearly every day. In fact, I kept a log, and I studied almost 300 hours for that lieutenant's test. I passed that lieutenant's test with a good grade, went on to my oral board. The oral board is where you make or break yourself. In my oral board, there were 3 people there, that I had never met before, all chiefs from other departments. Some weren't even close. And what we were comparing was my qualifications to the qualifications of the other applicants. 8 of us passed that lieutenant's test. 2 of us got promoted off of it. I scored the highest on that oral board, and I jumped over several people who had greater seniority than I did. Not because I was a better firefighter than they were, but because I was better prepared. I had spent tons of time studying, preparing for that job, going to conferences, taking classes like this. I finished my fire science degree. I read every trade magazine that I could. I watched videos. I was teaching classes. I was out doing things, while maybe some others were not quite as active. Not only that, but I was prepared for the oral board. I had printed off the top 100 oral board questions for firefighters, and I memorized those questions, and I studied for hours and hours. Now, when it was time for my oral board, it wasn't exactly the same questions, but they were very close, and I was prepared, and I got promoted. 3 years later, I got promoted from lieutenant to captain using the exact same process. But in that entire time, I did the same thing. As a lieutenant, I went to my captain and I says, teach me how to do your job. Because when the time came for me to test for captain, I didn't want to have to spend time trying how to learn that job. I wanted to know what was going to happen. Now, as a captain of my fire department, I am 4 years away from promotion again. And so I went to my battalion chief and I did the same thing. Teach me how to do your job. And as a captain, when the battalion chief in our department is off, when he's off sick, he's on vacation, the captain fits in that role. So now I spend time as an acting battalion chief. And I'm learning how to do that job. That way, when I get to that job, there shouldn't be such a learning curve. So what I'm telling you is that you always need to be preparing for the job that you want, right? If you are in a paid-on-call department and you know that there's a lieutenant opening, or maybe you don't have lieutenants or you're going to captain, or some departments even have sergeants. When you know there's going to be an opening, talk to your chief. Find out what those requirements are. Find out what kind of requirements he wants you to have. Talk to the people that are in those jobs and start to understand what it is, because most times being a good officer isn't necessarily fireground experience. Because believe it or not, I've been an officer now almost 15 years, and on-scene command type stuff is this much about what I do on a daily basis. As an officer, I spend time dealing with personnel issues. I spend time dealing with personalities, people in the fire department that can't get along with one another, issues of problems here and there, budget problems. We know that we all have budget problems. Many things happen in the course of a day compared to just going to fires and emergencies. So you have to be prepared to do those things. So in this class, we are going to do some of the things that are going to prepare you to be an officer. We are going to work over some of those oral board type questions and situations, things that you can do when you get yourself caught in a difficult situation or circumstance. We are going to write some memos. We're going to work on some budget outlines. We are going to do some incident command type stuff with some strategies and tactics. This class is designed to get you prepared for that next step. Now, maybe some of you are already officers, and if you are officers, that's great. So maybe now we are helping you prepare for that job that you're already in, where we're getting you prepared for that next promotion or that next step that you want to go. So what we need to do on a weekly basis is I need you to check the J&B account, the Jones and Bartlett, because that's where your coursework is. Everything that is there, you need to take a look at. Now, the flashcards, those are not required. Those are there for your convenience and to help you study, as are the outlines. What you need to do is make sure you're going through the lecture material, pre-recorded lectures every week, doing all of the questions and assignments that are through there. And if for some reason you go through it and you get a terrible grade, you could retake that, that test. That's not a problem. You can go through that lecture, What you can do is hit play, walk away, and then come back 20 minutes later. Because the way these classes are designed, it will not let you do that. I also need you to log into the portal once a week into e-learning, right? The Delta e-learning portal, because that is how we take attendance to make sure that you are active in this course. I also need to make sure that you are checking your Delta College email address, because that is where most of the correspondence is going to come between myself and you for these courses. I know that all of you have given me your own private email addresses, and that's what you use for business and for everything else. But as part of the college, everything has to run through the college server for accountability purposes. That way, if you were ever to come back and say, well, I didn't get this, or I didn't do that, or my instructor was horrible, he didn't give me any course information, everything is contained and saved inside of that server. So here we are, off on week 2, preparing for that promotion. So good luck, have a great week, and if you have any questions, certainly shoot me an email, give me a call, and let me know how I can help you prepare yourself and get ready for this next promotion. So I will see you next week. Until then, stay safe.